the bare-knuckle is one of those things where like all these fighters still have 9-to-5 jobs. And I know a lot of people in the UFC do too, but like all the world champions still have 9-to-5 jobs. So I have goals because I think what happens with the glory and everything, so many people get stuck on becoming a world champion and staying the world champion and staying the world champion until someone younger and better comes and takes them out. Unfortunately, and bare-knuckle probably kill me for saying this too, I don't make money fighting.
And that's most places.
Yeah.
I mean, like UFC, like they publish some of their fighters only making like $200,000 in one night.
Welcome to the Chris Salerno Show, your go-to for real estate, business, health, and family insight. I'm Chris Salerno, CEO of QC Capital. Each episode, we explore the latest trends and expert advice from industry leaders. Whether you're an investor, entrepreneur, or seeking balance, this show provides an inspiration you need. Join us and elevate your game on the Chris Salerno Show.
Welcome to the Chris Salerno Show. I'm your host, Chris Salerno, where we talk about business, family, and health. I have Taylor Killa Bee Starlings with us today. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I'm super excited because I've known you for over 10 years now.
Yeah.
Before you even got started, or right when you were getting started into the professional fighting, industry. So I'm excited to dive deep into your whole background, your career, to what you're doing today. Why don't you tell a little bit about your background and what you're currently doing right now?
Yeah, okay. So I am a mother, first and foremost. I have 2 boys, Carson and Brody, 7 and 6, so really close in age. But I am a professional fighter. I have fought boxing, kickboxing, MMA, bare-knuckle, so I've been all over that. I've worked so many jobs. It's been a mountain. I've climbed such a mountain to get where I'm at now, and I've come from the bottom to the top in a short amount of time, so it's awesome and just, yeah.
I love it. I love it. Talk to us about how did fighting even come about? Like, what was that eye-opening to where you said, I love this, I want to take this to the next level?
Yeah, just getting picked on a lot as a kid and, like, not really being good at anything. Like, when I grew up, I couldn't find my niche. Like, I couldn't find something that I was good at and passionate about, and I always was put in the back of sports. Like softball, I was in the outfield. On the dance team, I was in the back line, and like I always wanted to be in the front. And so just after getting picked on and bullied and getting in a lot of fights in school and not really taking shit off of people, I had a wrestling coach drag me to the side and be like, hey, like, you got to use this for something else. And went to go wrestle. At the time, there weren't really a lot of girls in wrestling. And so I was like, hey, do you know where I can do like boxing, or anybody who has that kind of gym or something I can do something like that? And that's where the transition happened. And once I did that, I was just naturally good at it. Like, I mean, I was probably terrible, but like in my mind, I was naturally good at it. I was passionate about it. It was something I could show off on my own and be at the forefront of. And I just like stuck with it. I remember every day being like, I'm gonna fight for a trophy. And then I fought for a trophy. And
I love it.
Then I'm going to win and be a pro. So yeah.
There we go.
Just took it and ran with it.
I love it. So you went from MMA, and then from MMA, where'd you go next?
I did MMA. I did kickboxing. I did, I'm trying to think. So like I did amateur MMA. I never really did amateur kickboxing. I had one amateur kickboxing fight. And that's when I kind of went over to my pro boxing debut and did all of that. And I got a call from Glory Kickboxing, and Glory Kickboxing is like the UFC of kickboxing. So there's like bare-knuckle is bare-knuckle.
Yep.
Boxing, you got Showtime and all that for boxing, but Glory is like the peak of kickboxing, and it's not a big thing because kickboxing is just not as popular as everything else. But at the time when they called me, I was like, oh shit, like I'm getting a call for the biggest organization in kickboxing. It's a huge deal, and they brought me in. They wanted me to lose so bad, and I lost the fight, but they wanted to bring me in as a can. Like they thought I was gonna come in and just get knocked out in the first round. It's not what happened. Like I fought hard the whole fight and like really gave this girl like a run for her money. But they had expected me to come in and just get annihilated. Yeah. But I went there, and then I was like, okay, cool. I was signed to them. They had sent me this multi-fight contract, and it ended up they like went bankrupt and had to like sell their company, and it got taken over by somebody else now. So I kind of was in this period of like, what am I going to do? So I went back to MMA, and I fought a couple fights MMA, and that's when Paige Van Zant had signed to bare-knuckle. So she had gotten released from the UFC, signed with bare-knuckle, and when I seen that she was doing it, I was like,
it's coming.
I was like, I could beat up Paige Van Zant in bare-knuckle, like that mindset. Like I could beat her up in bare-knuckle, and I started really pushing myself, like trying to get my name out there to bare-knuckle is hard. It's hard to get into bare-knuckle, by the way.
Is it?
Like, it's hard. Like, if you don't have the right connections, like they weren't paying attention to anybody.
Really?
So I had to like just really push myself so hard to get there. And finally I did. And thankfully I made my own name for myself with that.
I love it. I love it. I want to touch on contracts. Let's touch on the business side of fighting, because everyone sees these UFC fighters. You know, a lot of them say they're underpaid, but you really don't know the back end of it. You don't know the business unless you're in the business. Talk to me about the business side of it. You know, do you have an agent? Does your agent go out just like, you know, NFL, NBA and farm you out, you know, trying to get with these organizations to get you fights? Walk us through that.
So I've had managers. I don't have one now because the contracts with bare-knuckle are very simple. They're very black and white. They send you 3 pages and it's very like this. Now I've worked for other people like Glory. When they sent me a contract, it was like this thick.
I'm sure. A whole book.
And it had lawyers and attorneys, and I was like, oh shit, I need someone to look at this. But now with bare-knuckle, like I've been with them so long and like kind of know the run of the situation. I don't really need a manager. Yeah. And it got to a point where like the fight game is just like, is dirty, to be honest with you. But like having a manager, like they want 15% of what you get paid. Okay. And if you get sponsors, they want 15% of that. But a manager's job is to get you sponsorship deals.
Make
like
you that
they
income.
should do that. So I was just at a point where like I had managers that weren't bringing me deals. And I was like, you know what? I can get my own deals and keep all the money. And I can read this damn contract. I would read these contracts and be like, why do I have a manager? Yeah. For what? I'm not.
I mean, if it's 3 pages.
Yeah, I know what's going on. Like, I know the run of the mill for this for bare-knuckle, so I don't need anybody to do it. But yeah, there's a lot of fighters have managers. It's kind of sad because there are managers who don't look out for your best interest. Sure. Like, they just see money and they're like, yeah, you know what? I think you can do this. Go out there and like fight this monster and give me 15% of your purse and you go home with no teeth. And like, that's what it is.
They don't care.
Yeah. But I worked with a really big company called First Round, and I just kind of let them go just because, like I said, like everything was so black and white and simple. Yeah. I was like, I'm giving you guys 15% of my check for what? Like I don't need to give you guys that. So
smart.
Yeah. So that's kind of the deal with managers and fighting. Like,
so when it comes to those contracts, obviously I've heard of it. Tell me more. When it comes to the contracts itself, you have X amount of fights, you know, that you get to pick, you get to do, you know, what does that look like? Where I gave you a contract and say you have X amount of fights, walk us through that.
Yeah. So when a lot of people will see in the UFC or bare-knuckle or other places, like people sign a multi-fight deal. Basically, it's a contract that they give you and it's like, you're going to fight 5 times for us. If you lose, you'll make this much. If you win, you can get like paid more
much or a bonus.
But basically it's like a inclusive contract where they're like, you get 5 fights, but you can't go anywhere else.
Got it.
You're going to fight under us. You can't go somewhere else.
Smart. I mean, that's how it should be.
Right now, I'm not in a deal with them. I just, I finished out mine. I had a 5-fight deal and I went through all my 5 fights and they haven't re-signed me yet. I'm a little hurt about it, but they haven't re-signed me to like an exclusive deal. So I could essentially go somewhere else.
Got it.
So now it's like single contract. Like every time I have a fight, they send you one and you have to sign it. And that's another thing. Like people don't realize like when you fight, it's not like, oh, hey, I want to fight you, so let's make it happen. Yeah. Like they have to negotiate and money and deals and times and weights and like all of that. Like your whole contract is this agreement for someone. There's been plenty of girls that I've been like, I just want to fight them and they want to fight me, but
just fight.
But the business side, like, we need to know that this fight's going to make money. We need to
market. We need to do all this.
Yeah. So there's a lot that goes into it. I think a lot of people are just like, well, you guys want to fight each other. Why isn't it happening? And it's like, well, if the business isn't giving me a contract to fight them, I can't do anything about it. You know?
Yeah. You can only tell them so much, but if they're not going to go ahead and draft up all those paperworks and make sure the marketing's in place and things like that, I think the business definitely has to see it being valuable.
Exactly.
You know, for them to bring them more exposure.
Oh yeah. There have been times that they're like, we want you to post that you might fight this person, and we want to see the traction that it gets.
Oh, yeah. And based off that traction, we'll go ahead and make it happen.
They're like, we need to know that the people want to see this or that the people care about it. And like, so You know
Yeah.
me. I'm on there
Oh,
hustling.
you are. You are. We'll definitely put your Instagram handler on this YouTube because we follow each other, and you're always out there posting stuff.
Oh, man.
And trash talking. You have to, to get those fights.
That's what people want to see.
That's what they love. So you went back, and then now, how'd you get into bare-knuckle?
Like I said, so when Paige Van Zandt signed with them, I had seen it, and at the time, bare-knuckle was really small. They were just starting. I think they had 2 events, and I had heard about them, and I was like, ooh, that kind of looks fun.
Yeah.
I really like the way that they're fighting. I think it's so much more than what people realize. And my coach at the time, I was at a different gym, and my coach was like, there's no way in hell you're fighting bare-knuckle. But they knew, I'm just the way that I am. I'm I want to do the craziest.
You'll take on anything.
Yeah,
I know
the craziest savage
100%.
fighting that I can possibly do. And there was nobody really in it like Paige Van Zandt. So when she signed, I was like, if Paige Van Zandt can do bare-knuckle, I can do bare-knuckle. And Paige Van Zandt's, for people who don't know, beautiful, blonde, bombshell, gorgeous, you wouldn't expect her to do it.
Yeah.
And so that's really what planted the seed. And I was like, I'm going to make this happen. I don't know how I'm going to make it happen, but I'm just going to promote myself and push myself. And it's funny because at that time I was working at Carowinds pulling weeds and doing landscaping. And I was working 2 other part-time jobs. And I just remember telling everybody there, I'm going to go to bare-knuckle and you guys are never going to see me again.
Oh, yeah.
And they didn't believe me, but I really pushed for it and just promoted myself and got in touch with the right people. And
I love that.
thankfully it happened and changed my life.
There you go. And we'll touch on that fight in a second. But I wanted to touch on what you just said, that people didn't believe in you.
Yeah.
It happens throughout the journey. Even when you are at the level you are and you're about to fight for a championship, hopefully,
Yeah.
which I'm excited to watch. But even when you get that belt, people are still going to hate on you.
Oh, yeah.
And how are you blocking that hate out? Because I remember when we first met, I met your parents at Carowinds. We connected over 10 years ago. And I remember your goals. And I was never the type of person to be like, yeah, good luck with that. I was the type of, you can do it.
Yeah.
But people hated still,
Yeah.
So how did you keep that momentum, that positivity mentally to get to where you're at?
Man, I am my biggest fan. I believe in myself. I'm one of those people that thrives on someone telling me I can't.
Oh,
And
100%.
I remember telling people this is what's going to happen and it's going to happen. And them looking at me oh, okay, sure. But I'm no, I'm going to get what I want. And I think the biggest thing is a lot of people want something, but they don't want to put in the hard work. They don't want to wake up early. They don't want to do the shit that sucks or the bad days. There's days where I'm
you probably don't even want to go to the gym.
I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do it anymore. I want to go work at a coffee shop and throw it all away. But you have to remember no, there's a bigger picture and you just got to keep going. And the biggest lesson I've learned is never giving up. And it sounds so cliche, but
true.
it's so true.
Yeah.
And
You have to stay consistent and keep pushing.
Yeah.
And touching on those hardworking days, we touched on it before the podcast. Let's talk about, and we'll get back to Paige on that fight. Let's talk about the health, the training you put into this. I mean, you have to eat healthy. You can't go out and drink.
Yeah.
You can't go out and eat fast food or fried food. You have to watch what you intake when it comes to food, and then also your sleeping regimen, then your training regimen. Walk us through that. How strict are you, during that?
Yeah.
And then preparing for a fight too.
Man, it's a lot. So for people who don't know fighting, when you have a fight, I go through what's called a fight camp. So it's 12 to 8 weeks before the fight, training for the fight.
Yep.
And I mean, I get my off times. Right now, I'm not really in camp yet, but it's coming. It's coming in a week. But you get a little bit of time to be bad and eat bad, but I still have to train. I still have to train. I still have to sleep good. I still have to kind of watch what I'm doing. But when I'm in camp, it is I have nutritionists who literally track what I eat all day, every day, from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep. Whatever I put in my body, they know. They tell me this is what I need to do and this is how it's going to be, tailored to that. My workouts are very specific times of the day and around what I'm eating, and my running, I have to do extra stuff run or go to the sauna. I have to do these insane sauna sessions to make sure that my body's running the right way to sweat so that I can cut weight and sleep. And then on top of all of that, running my kids around and everything that. But
I know being a single mother is very hard.
Yeah. I'm very as crazy and wild as I am so structured in my day-to-day life. that if something goes out of place, like for one day, I like lose my mind.
Do you?
But yes, very like I have my times like set. I have my food times set. I have everything like mapped out from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed. So yeah, it's a lot more than people realize, but you have to be willing to do that.
Oh, you have to. It's a sacrifice.
Yeah.
I always say there's always a catch-22, no matter what you do. And that's what we were talking about earlier. You're training so hard to get that championship belt where personal friends and family members are like, hey, why don't you come hang out? Hey, why don't you come do this? And it's like, you can't because it's a catch-22. You have to give up spending time with them to get what you want. And in this case, you want the championship belt.
Yeah.
So you got to work hard for it.
I can't even describe, like there have been so many Thanksgivings and Christmases where I'm sitting there and I can't eat or like can't celebrate with everybody. I can't drink on New Year's. Like I can't do all the things like that. And but I'm so dedicated to it and so disciplined that like, and it all pays off. And like I get my time back after the fights and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot that goes into it. And I think, like I said, so many people just envision it as two people going in there and fighting, and it's it's not. There's
a lot of preparation. I mean, what we talked about earlier too. You're spending hundreds of thousands of hours, dieting, training, doing all the grunt work for only 10 minutes in a ring.
For glory, baby.
That's it.
For the glory, baby.
I love it. I love it. Let's talk about the little ones you have.
Yes.
You think they're going to follow your footsteps into fighting? Would you let them?
They are absolutely not going to follow my footsteps. Not because I don't want them to. They're in the gym all the time with me.
Good.
They know the gym. Like they train. Sometimes they'll do jujitsu. My oldest one is so sensitive and so like, I don't want to say he's against it because he's like one of my biggest fans, but he's very sensitive, no aggressive bone in his body, which is surprising because I'm the opposite.
Oh yeah.
But he's very like, nope, no fighting, no violence, no nothing.
Okay.
My young one's a little like, he could potentially have it in him.
You may see that spark.
He's
in
a
him.
savage. But I just don't like I don't push it on them. Like
Good.
As much as I love my dad, like the one thing that he did when I was young was force me to play softball, and I hated it.
Yeah.
He forced me, and it was a all day, all night, every day, and I just to the point where I didn't want to do it, and I hated it so much. Yeah. So with them, I'm just kind of like, if you want to do it, cool. If not, whatever.
Yep.
But I also think about it as a mom. Like if I saw someone hit my kid, I would like. I'm fighting. Like I'm fighting you. I'm fighting 100%. Your mom. I'm fighting.
You have to be protective. 100%.
It would be very hard for me to watch them fight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, most definitely. Most definitely. So that fight with Paige.
So I didn't fight Paige.
You didn't.
Paige fought the night when I had my bare-knuckle debut.
Okay.
I fought this girl named Teresa.
All right.
But Paige fought that night.
Got it.
She was the main event.
How did the debut go?
My debut?
Yeah.
That's the one the meme is about. That's when like I'm bloodied up.
We're gonna post that meme on here. It is everywhere now.
It was awesome. It was really cool. That was kind of like how we said never giving up. So I had taken that fight and bare-knuckle. I wanted to go to bare-knuckle so badly, and they had told me, this is a fight that we're gonna offer you. If you don't take it, we're never gonna contact you again.
So you're like, I got to take it.
Yeah. And I had just come off of 2 losses. I think I had lost in MMA and I had lost in boxing. And I was just like at this point of like.
So that energy was already down a little bit.
I was like hell or high water.
Let's do it.
I was like, what?
Got nothing to lose.
Yeah, I'm going to take it. But I remember so many times, like I had so many traumatic things happen in my life before that fight. As I was about to walk out for the fight, I told my coach, like, if I lose, I'm never fighting again. And he looked at me and he was like, fuck that. Like, no, you're gonna do great. He's like, my coach literally told me before I walked out, your life is going to be changed after this fight. I promise you. He's like, I just can't. He's like, I'm around you every day. You're a star. You're this, you're that. Like, your life's going to be so different in 24 hours. And it was just like one of those things. I heard it and I was like, whatever. Like in my mind, it was already made up. Like, I really was so down on myself. I was like, I'm about to go out here and give it everything I have. And if I come up short, I'm done. I give up. Like
your back's against the wall. Let's do it.
And then the fight was a 5-round war, and it's like got like 3 million views on YouTube. It's got memes. It's got everything. And my life changed overnight from that fight. And I was really at that point of like, I'm about to be done with this. Like, I'm wasting my time.
Yeah.
And my life changed, and here I am, and I never gave up. And
there we go. You stayed consistent.
Yeah.
Now, I want to say, I've watched that meme a couple times. I watched your interview. The level of energy that you still had in that interview after the face did not look too good. You're beautiful now, but the face did not look too good. And we'll post that picture. But the level of energy that you still had in that interview after that fight was remarkable.
Oh man, I was on a high, but I was delusional. Like, to be honest,
Were you out of it?
I was so fueled by adrenaline because like Now that I fought bare knuckle, I don't feel that much adrenaline. But the first one, I was like, dude, I'm about to go out here and just maul this girl. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm scared. I'm terrified. I'm going to just
get it.
So the adrenaline afterwards, and I couldn't process that my face was like so messed up and my hands were hurting. And the funniest part about that interview was the lady interviewing me was like, you have to go clean yourself up.
Really?
And I was like, no. And she was like, you have to. And I was like, no. I was like in a like an arena that had like little bathrooms. I was like, I need a shower. Like I need someone, like I need a shower. I don't want to go touch anything.
No.
And I was hurting. But so many people were like, I can't believe this woman's interviewing her like that. But I literally was like, no, I'm not. Went viral. If you want an interview, like you get this or you get nothing. Like,
and I will say that's what I love about you. Knowing you for over 10 years, you're straight like that. You're blunt. It's hey, this is what you get. Take it or leave it. Yeah. You know, it's not sugarcoating anything. And you've always been like that.
And it's so funny. Like people never believe. Like I literally am the same person that you see. Like anywhere, I'm the same in real life. I'm the same 100%. This and that. But yeah, she didn't want to interview with my blood, and I was like, it's either this or not. She's like, well, let's go. Like,
well, so it went everywhere. I mean, t-shirts and everything.
But people don't believe it's me. It's me. I'm the mean girl. People don't believe me. It's me.
Really? They don't believe it?
Never.
Wow.
They're like, nah, it's not you. I'm like, okay.
I mean, you had like a golf ball size
my
on
whole
your cheek.
Yeah, my whole face was just demolished. I don't look the same. Yeah.
It was wild. Let's talk about the bare knuckle. Now, you don't have padding on it.
No.
You know, your wrists are wrapped. How are those knuckles? I mean, I know you said that adrenaline's high in those fights. How are those knuckles?
I think the best way to describe it, and I say this to everybody because everyone's like, how is that? I bet it's so bad. And I'm like, it is as bad as you think it would be, but it's not.
Got it.
Like, I remember thinking it was going to be so, I put this idea in my head of like, this is going to be so terrible. Like, it really wasn't, but it does suck. Like, for me personally, like, you get hit and it doesn't hurt that bad versus when you punch someone and you hit someone in their forehead and you have nothing on and like you're hitting someone's like strongest bone in their body, like on their head, like in your hands. Like it hurts your hands more than anything. To me, I'm like, if I can avoid punching you right in the forehead, like I try to avoid that. That's the worst. But getting hit's not that bad.
Yeah. I don't know how you do it.
Sometimes you have to pick and choose where you're gonna hit someone and like it'll hurt you. Like you'll hit someone, you'll be like, wow, like fuck, that hurts.
That's
so bad.
Wild. Yeah. That's wild. Let's talk about bare knuckle. And you know, it's a sport that's coming up tremendously. Conor McGregor just bought into it, so I know it's going to just be flooded with a lot of fans because a lot of people follow Conor. Just like we talked about, you know, you have to have that following. What are the rules like? You know, it's you can't grapple. You know, is it a mixture with some boxing? What are the rules?
Yeah, so bare knuckle boxing is literally. It's just like boxing because it's bare knuckle boxing, but you are allowed to clinch someone with one hand. Like I can't grab someone with two hands. I can grab the back of your neck and I can
just go at it.
And I can punch you. It's called a half tie plum. So you grab someone, you can punch them. You can hold their head and literally just uppercut to their head like the whole time. But if you clinch with two hands or you're holding on, they break it immediately. So that's literally it. Like there's just no elbows, no kicking, no takedowns, no things like that. But yeah, you can't hit someone if they're on the ground. You can't hit someone when they're down. So boxing, but you can grab the back of their head with one hand, or you can grab them with one hand. Yeah.
Wild. Still 3 judges. And how are the scoring? You know, scoring goes.
It's just like regular boxing.
Just like regular boxing. Wow. That's wild. Yeah.
It's different. It is different. It's one of those things like you think that you know what it is and you think that you're going to have it mastered and you go in there and you're like, okay, it's a complete different discipline. So like boxing is boxing, kickboxing is kickboxing, MMA is MMA. Bare knuckle boxing is bare knuckle boxing. It's its own thing. It's its own discipline. There's nothing like it. So many people come from MMA and they're like, well, I'm good at MMA, so I'm going to be good at bare knuckle boxing. So many people come from boxing. I'm going to be good at bare knuckle because I'm a boxer. And it's like, nah, it's a different style. And when you get someone who knows what they're doing and they've been in it and they have the experience.
I mean, there's some big UFC fighters that switched over to boxing and got knocked out cold because they didn't know truly how to box. And coming over to bare knuckle, I'm sure it's a whole different world.
Yeah, it is. It's like one of those things everyone thinks they know what they're doing until they get in there and do it. And you know,
That's
after a couple,
wild.
you get used to it.
So being in there, did you guys or did all the fighters know who are in bare-knuckle that Connor was coming to buy in ownership to it?
Connor came to one of the fights and was there, and he loved it. I think he was kind of planting his seed. Like, I think he was talking to people.
He's sponsored with his
Forged Irish Stout.
Yeah, so I remember him sponsoring it a couple times with the ring girls and things like that.
Mm-hmm, which is really cool. I think maybe that was his way of like getting his feet wet. He had came to the show and saw one live, loved it, like absolutely loved it. Then he sponsored, and then they became like a full-time sponsor. And then, you know, there was kind of just, we kind of kept seeing Connor things.
More and
so
more.
it was like, all right, he's got something going on. And it was like, okay, well, he's obviously not coming and fighting here. So what's Connor doing?
What's he doing?
Yeah.
What's up his sleeve?
And it's a big deal. It's awesome. It's awesome that he's working with bare-knuckle. You know, someone like me, it's hard because one, the viewership that Connor's going to bring is
unbelievable.
Going to be huge, and it's such a big
Ginormous.
deal. You know, there's so many more eyes are going to see it that wouldn't
Wouldn't
see
even
it
know
without
of
him.
it. Yeah.
And two, like money wise, I think it's going to really help a lot of fighters. Like, I don't think people quite realize that like a lot of the paychecks and stuff that people get are from sponsors and like ticket sales and stuff like that. If you're not selling tickets and you don't have sponsors putting a lot of money into it, like, then no one's getting paid.
No.
So I think that's going to help a lot. And as someone, like, I love bare-knuckle to death, but I have been sidelined so many times because of like, they're like, you're not on the level where we can pay you little, but you're not on the level where I'm making millions. Like, so it's like I'm in the in-between, and it's like I'm expensive, but I'm not too expensive. So it's like I've just been stagnant, like sitting a lot. Like, I've been fighting once a year, and that's because they have cheaper people coming, or you know, the big names are getting the big paychecks, and like I'm in the middle. So
And do you feel that backing and that following, because you have a great following on Instagram, you have huge following. You think increasing that will open up that light even more with them?
I think so, and I hope so. Like, it's funny because Connor like kind of has seen everybody, and I actually had sent him a DM probably a few months ago, and I was like, hey, you know, I don't know if you'll see this, but like, I want there to be better opportunities for, especially the women.
Yeah.
Like, I want better opportunities for fighters, and hopefully, like, I don't know what you're doing, but I hope that comes. He never saw it. He liked my post yesterday, so I was like, okay, maybe he's gonna see my message, and there's gonna be something that I can do to help, like, bring something to the women, to the fighters in general, and we're not like just sitting around and waiting. And
for sure.
do something more. Like, you know, a lot of people hate Jake Paul, but that's one of the things I love about Jake Paul is
he's a promoter.
He's a promoter, and he's bringing a lot of opportunities. I've seen him literally go to fighters that aren't making any money at all, and him just like be like, hey, here's this to help you, and like you need this, and let's get you going and put you in the right direction. And I'm hoping that's what Connor brings.
I think you're going to see that a lot too with these YouTubers, you know, wanting to get into boxing. Obviously, they're going to bring, you know, their following to watch them fight. You know, and it's entertaining at the end of the day.
I hope you're enjoying today's episode. Just a quick reminder to make sure you never miss an episode. Stay connected with us by following us on social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, TikTok at Chris_Salerno_. And don't forget to subscribe to YouTube to catch the video versions of our episode. You'll get exclusive content, behind the scenes footage, and much more. Head over to YouTube, Chris_Salerno now, and hit the subscribe button. Stay tuned because we've got more great content coming right after this.
Yeah.
So I think Connor's definitely going to bring that. And I think if you can bring that to the table, they see some sort of value even more. And, you know, then you have big negotiation leverage.
Yeah, exactly. The bare-knuckle is one of those things where like all these fighters still have 9-to-5 jobs.
Oh,
and like
most of them do.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people in the UFC do too, but like all the world champions still have 9-to-5 jobs, and like
I believe it.
That's not something that like I feel like as champions like you should be strictly only fighting and only promoting and traveling and doing your footwork like that. But hopefully that's all something that changes, and I'm excited do something.
I think he's going to bring a lot of people in there. I think you're going to see that, which is going to be great. And I think that, like, I mean, look at Dustin Poirier. I can't pronounce it. I'm dyslexic. Look at him. You know, he came out with that hot sauce because he's from Louisiana.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of these fighters are coming out with different type of product lines.
Yeah.
You know, to sell, to generate that income where they don't have to do 9 to 5. They can train full time, be the best they can, and they're making that other money.
So a lot of people people ask me like, what am I going to do? How long am I going to fight for? And I have like specific goals.
Okay,
like,
let's hear 'em.
So I want to fight for the world title, which hopefully is coming to fruition soon. But I
will say, I don't mean to interrupt. I tend to interrupt a lot. I will say I was on my phone on Facebook, and all of a sudden, my phone was probably listening and knowing we were meeting today, but it popped up a picture of you and her saying fighting for the world title.
Yeah, let's fight. Let's go, Britton. I'm trying to beat you up.
I'm excited. I want to watch it.
But so I have goals because I think what happens with the glory and everything, so many people get stuck on becoming a world champion and staying the world champion and staying the world champion until someone younger and better comes and takes them out. So I love fighting. Fighting is my life, but it's not forever. It's something that just you can't physically do forever. And once it's gone, it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
It can take one thing. It can take getting hit. It could take a bad fight. It could take the whole world turning against you and not like it could be anything. And it can be over. So I want to fight for the world title, win the world title.
You will.
And I will. I want to win the world title, and I want to defend it maybe a couple times and like see what comes of that. But I don't want it to define me, and I don't want my everyday life to be like I'm just stuck on being a world champion. I want to use it to springboard to having a business, like opening a business and having my own thing. My dream is to own a coffee shop.
I love that.
So I want a coffee shop, and I want to do something really big with it, like something cool, local, small business, and make it bee themed and have this whole thing.
So cool.
That's really what I want. So I'm trying to springboard my fighting career into something that's going to last me forever when I'm done. So
Love that.
Idealistically, like bare-knuckle will kill me if they hear me saying this, but I want to get the title and defend it like maybe 2 or 3 times and then be like, you guys have it. I loved it. I loved being the champion, but I love talking. So hopefully potentially later down the line, I could do something speaking like with fighters, or I don't really want to do commentary, but I want to do something like, the girls at the UFC, like Laura Sanko and like those really pretty women, or now like in videos and doing stuff. Like I want to do something like that potentially down the line too, and just springboard to something else. I don't want it to define me. I don't want that belt and the glory to like define me to where like I'm 50 years old. Like I'm the best. Like,
Oh, for sure.
I want to be the best, prove it to myself, and then use it.
Oh, most definitely. So preparing for that championship fight, I assume you're going to watch film.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to know how she moves, what she does, every reaction, every twitch, every little thing, so you can counteract it and essentially knock her out.
Yeah. Got to do a lot of homework. It's funny. That's actually my least favorite thing to do.
Is watching film?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
one of the most important too.
Yeah, it
you
is.
Get to see how she moves.
I do it. It's so funny. It gets me amped up like every time. It doesn't matter who, because like when you watch film, 90% of the time it's like their best work. Like they're like finishing somebody. They're this, they're that. And thankfully with bare-knuckle, they have like a whole library of like all the fights, every bit of it. But like you usually see like the person at their best.
Oh, yeah.
So you're just like, damn. Like, this sucks. I have to fight this person. It's scary.
It does cross your mind, probably.
Of course. I'm so honest about it. Like, most people are like, I don't care. I'll watch it. I'm the best. Like, no, I'm like, oh my God.
It crosses their mind.
I see them dropping someone. I'm like, fuck, I have to, I got to get hit by this person. Like, So, yeah. But yeah, I've done a lot of homework. I've been at Britain's fights in person. I've seen them on the internet. I've watched them 100 times before knowing I was going to fight her.
Sleep and watch it.
Yeah. I could tell you everything about Britton Hart that you need to know before fighting her. I've known it from day one.
You're prepared. You're ready to go.
So, but yeah, I've been watching a lot of stuff recently, and it's exciting to like pick her apart. Like, she's a champ for a reason, and as much shit that she talks, like I give it to her. Like, that girl can fight, and she's tough as hell. So I'm excited.
No, it's going to be a good fight. I can't wait. I can't wait till you bring that belt back.
Yeah, I'm excited for the marketing side too. Like, it's so funny because I'm a businesswoman when it comes to it. I'm not just like, I want to fight. I'm like, all right, I got to go with my lashes done, my hair done, my boobs out. I got to sell it.
There's one picture I saw of you. It was weigh-ins. You had like a crown.
Yeah.
Like, you had the whole outfit going.
Yeah. I like to do that. And like I literally was thinking, I'm like, okay, Britton just got a boob job. I hope she's ready to like busting things out, and we are like next to each other, just like, like we're going to fight. Like, I want to sell it. Like, we're both good looking women. Let's go.
100%.
Like, this is more than just the fight, but also I can't wait to put my fist in her face. So.
I can't wait to watch it. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Let's talk about the tattoos. You are tatted up.
Yeah.
Neck, face, everything. What's the story behind that?
My dad told me when I was young to never get a tattoo.
So you do the opposite.
And I always tell people, I remember him telling me when I was a kid, like, if you get a tattoo on your body, I'm gonna whoop your ass. Like, that was just how he was. My dad's Southern and like wants me to be just as clean as possible and ladylike or whatever. Not now, but that's how it used to be when I was a kid. Like, I'm gonna be a lady and this is how it's gonna be. But I just remember him telling me like, no tattoos or you're gonna be in trouble.
Really?
Like, I remember just being little and him telling me that, like, you better not ever want a tattoo. And then my older brother was very rebellious and gothic and like all the whole skater boy, everything. So my brother got a lot of tattoos. And I remember seeing them like thinking like, wow, those look so good. And I want tattoos like that. And so I got my first one at 15.
Wow.
Got my first one at 15 and then just never stopped. And still, like, I'm still.
So when you got a big neck tattoo?
Yeah.
So walking in to seeing him, did you tell him you were going to get that before or after?
My dad?
Yeah.
Oh, no. He sees it after.
So you walked in with that neck tattoo. What was his reaction?
He didn't really have a reaction to that one. The one that got him was my face tattoo. I remember, and like even still, like I'm like a grown ass woman and can do whatever I want. But I remember like going into my parents' house and I'm like sitting there like with my hand like or my hair over it, and I was like this, and he just grabs me and he's like, I already know you got it. And he's like, why would you make yourself look uglier than you already do? Like, he is always really, really hard on me. So like he just said that like joking, and he was just like, I don't know why you do this, but whatever. But my dad to me is very hard on me.
Yeah.
But when he goes to other people, he brags and he's like, Taylor just does what she wants. She doesn't care what anybody says. Like, if she wants it, she's going to do it. And like, she's got all these tattoos and she goes and gets them because she loves them. And like, he brags, but to my face, he's very hard on me just to keep me humble.
Let's talk about that. You know, family's important.
Yeah.
And I think fathers in children's lives are super important.
Yes.
If he wasn't as hard on you as he is throughout your whole life, do you think you would be the woman you are today?
Hell no. My dad, I really attribute a lot of my fighting and my attitude with fighting towards my dad because I was with my single father my whole life. Yeah. I didn't have my mom around.
And he's a phenomenal person. I've known him. I've met him plenty of times.
Yeah. So it's being single dad household. My dad always taught me like not to take shit off of anybody. Like, don't ever let anybody disrespect you. Yep. And there was no, if you get hit first or anything. My dad was very like, if someone is in your face or in your personal space, like, don't
wait to get hit.
Beat their ass. Like, or just like say what you want. Don't take shit from anybody. Yeah. Like,
Speak your mind.
Don't ever let anybody like punk you down or anything like that. And so I really think that that's why I am the way that I am. And I have the mindset of things that I do and being so blunt and getting what I want, because my dad was just very like, don't ever let anybody treat you like shit. Basically, essentially, like don't take any shit off of anybody.
No, I think that's important.
Yeah.
Especially in today's age.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all seeing what's going on with the market, the economy, and the world we live in now. I think people should stand up for themselves. And, you know, you raising two boys, I think they're going to stand up, even though, you know, one may have a big heart, but they're going to stand up, I think, defending themselves. If not, they're going to have their mom behind them.
I hope so, because I baby them. Like, it's so funny. My dad was so hard on me, but with them, I'm just like, whatever you want. Like, my babies.
See,
like,
my son, I'm hard on. He has to grow up a lion.
It's hard. I'm like so sensitive towards them. Like, I'm like, you get whatever you want. You are babies. Like, me, they're just babies.
The biggest thing being a parent and a single parent is that no one has prepped me, and I'm sure no one's prepped you for that guilt when you leave them to go to work.
Yeah.
That guilt is so much. You only know if you're a parent, and especially a single parent, of leaving your children to say, hey, I got to go to work.
Oh, it's the hardest.
It's so hard.
So when I go for like fight trips, there's sometimes where I'm gone, a week or more.
Oh, I bet that's hard.
And I remember one of my fights, I was gone and my son lost his first tooth, and I like seen him on FaceTime, and it was like his little missing tooth. And
did you post that? I think you posted that on your IG or something.
Yeah,
I think I remember
cried
seeing that.
and cried and cried, and I was like, I should have been there. I missed him losing his first tooth, like stuff like that. And it just, I'm like, now they're a lot more understanding. Like, so now
older.
they understand. They don't necessarily like enjoy it the most, but they always talk to me and hype me up. And
there you go. Do you let them watch your fights?
Yes.
Okay.
Usually they're with their dad. So I don't think he particularly enjoys letting them watch me fight. Mostly it's like afterwards. I come home and I'm like, this is what happened. Or I do every single post-fight interview. I'm like, Carson, Brody. Like I'm always shouting them out. And then I show them and they think it's like the coolest thing ever. They're just like, oh my God, you said my name on TV. Like,
love that.
So I'm just like, I try to be very, whatever you guys want is how I'm going to go about it. If you want to watch my fight, we'll watch my fight. If you don't and you don't want to see it, because like I know they don't really like me being bloody. Like,
yeah, they don't want to see their mom get
the
beat
meme
up.
fight. I remember when I won that fight, I was again like head to toe in blood, and the first thing I did when I went to the back was FaceTimed my oldest son.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm not thinking, I'm just thinking I won. I can't wait to tell my son.
They're not prepared for what they're about to open up.
We're on FaceTime and his eyeballs are huge, but he's like, I'm so happy for you. And then he like hangs up and his dad's like, he lost his mind after you hung up. You cannot call him like that ever again. Like that, like being cut open like that. But now that I've explained it, now they're just like, whatever. But
they're
at that
older,
time,
they understand
it
now.
was the first one and very shocking. And like,
wow.
But I have to be like, I'm okay. Everything's good.
Unbelievable. Let's talk about OnlyFans a little bit.
Okay.
I know you have one.
Yeah.
I'm not subscribed to it. Just saying.
It's free.
How do you use that as a business to help grow your followers and, to generate other income? Because I know you can from that.
So, I mean, that kind of plays into like how we're talking about Conor McGregor doing more for the fighters because unfortunately, and bare-knuckle probably kill me for saying this too, I don't make money fighting. Like my money doesn't come from fighting. My money comes from...
And that's most places.
Yeah.
I mean, like UFC, like they publish some of their fighters only making like $200,000 in one night.
Yeah.
And I'm like, to go up there and get beat up and torn up, only $200,000, that's not a lot.
No.
I
wish that's what I made in bare-knuckle. That's not like... Unfortunately, like being a good-looking woman... I can have
helps,
an OnlyFans.
100%.
There are people, who have OnlyFans for, like I'm sewing a sweater today and this is how I do it. But obviously I don't do that. I'm on the spicy side of OnlyFans. I remember like my life, like everything was blown up for me. I had a lot of followers. Everything was changing. And my manager at the time was like, you should do OnlyFans. And I was just like, why wouldn't I? Like, why would I not? If I can like show my boobs and make this much money. Like I remember them telling me the numbers of Paige Van Zandt. So Paige Van Zandt
she has an OnlyFans?
Yeah. So she
does most women fighters have OnlyFans?
A lot of them do.
Yeah.
Some of them don't. I'll have to get into that because like the ones that like talk shit about it, it's stupid because I'm like if you're not looking at my boobs, I don't know why you care. But Paige Van Zandt, I remember my manager saying, Paige Van Zandt just sent out a picture. You can't see her boobs. You can't see anything. She's got like a wet shirt on. Mm-hmm. Can't see anything. Like as it is, made $70,000 in like an hour.
No way.
Yeah.
Just from posting on their OnlyFans.
Yes.
Because she has that following.
Yes. So they were like, you have a following. We need to try to like, you should try to do something like that. And as soon as I heard that, I'm like, $70,000
in 1 hour?
Boobs. Like that's nothing. Like, let's go. Like I've showed them for free for work. Like,
and fighting. Yeah.
So I'm like, why not? And, now I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm a little bit over it. Like I'm thankful for it because OnlyFans pays my bills. OnlyFans has gotten me a vehicle. OnlyFans has gotten to where I
put food on the table.
Put food on the table. And so I'm very, very thankful for it because if not, like I said, before I had OnlyFans, I was working at Carowinds full time. I was working at a coffee shop part time. I was working at a bakery part time. So I had 3 jobs and like literally was killing myself and trying to find time to train.
Yeah.
And like putting the bare minimum into training. So it's
and
really
now you
helped
can
me.
train at a high level.
Yeah,
you
all
can
day.
also prepare to win that championship belt, and you have a mainstream of income from OnlyFans.
Yeah, so it's a big thing and it helps a lot, and I'm so thankful for it. But also at the same time, it's kind of like, okay, I've been doing this for years, and like I just there does come a point, especially being a mom and everything like that, where I'm like, man, like is this what I would really want to keep doing, or like. But of course I'm going to keep doing it. And
it's a stepping stone to reach that ultimate goal.
Exactly. And it's, I think it's sad when people do put people down like that for doing it because like, hey, like I'm making money and all my bills are paid. Unless you're going to pay my bills, like your opinion on what I do doesn't matter. Like can't take an opinion to the bank. That's what I always say. So yeah, the OnlyFans thing's wild. But then there's the fighters that are females who talk so much shit about the other females that have them, and like at that, but what I tell them or think about is like when you stand in that ring, there's a logo in that ring, and it's an OnlyFans logo. And you know why? Because OnlyFans is sponsoring our company to give you a check. So for you to sit and talk shit about us
you're
doing
still
OnlyFans,
getting a check some way.
We're giving you your check. Like, we're helping fund your check. So I'm just like, you know, and as a woman, like, just, I don't like women putting women down. So I'm just like, very pro whatever. And like, I don't, you know, I separate. I have a lot of boundaries too, and like what I do on OnlyFans and like in real life, and separating that from my real life and things like that.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah. And you have to keep it separate.
Yeah. But it's wild. That's a whole other
It's a
rodeo.
whole different world. But it's good because it's another stream of income for you.
Yeah.
Again, you can train full time, where you're not having to work 3 jobs and train and be a single mother.
Yeah.
Now you can train and spend time with your kids, which is super important to fight for that belt.
Exactly. If I didn't have OnlyFans, like all of that would be like, it would just, I couldn't even imagine. Like, so I'm very, very thankful for it. But
I love that.
Yeah. It's kind of like a lot of people too are like, I want fights, because the attention that even just me putting out a fight poster brings people to my OnlyFans. It springboards everything. I'm getting the attention and the traction that I need, because if I don't have that going on, everything's kind of like just calm. And so
100%.
having fights pushes towards the OnlyFans. Like, I think
being on podcasts, getting out there, getting your name out there.
Promoting yourself. But
100%.
One of the biggest earning weeks I ever had on OnlyFans was like, I had just fought and I finished the girl in like 20 seconds.
Congrats.
And I look at my OnlyFans and it was like, ding, 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 ding. Like,
really?
people were just paying. So I'm like, okay, like,
no way.
Fighting helps. Like, yeah.
So you fight, boom, there goes paychecks on both ends. Hopefully, large paychecks on the fighting side. And then you got the OnlyFans that's ching, ching, ching.
Yeah. It's a whole lot of,
unbelievable.
Whole lot of things.
Unbelievable. Fighting, you never know what can happen.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have those setbacks, just like anything in your career in any type of industry. How do you cope with those setbacks? Coming from that crazy meme, recovering from that. You said it took about 2 weeks before, which is mind boggling.
Yeah.
We're going to put a picture of this meme up, but it's mind boggling how you went from that, and then 2 weeks, boom, you're good. How does that mindset really help even after, losing a fight and coming back and going full force for the next one?
It's hard. Like the healing and stuff, that stuff's, all surface level. Being, to me, like, everyone always asks me, like, what is the hardest part about this? And I'm like, the mental, like, because
and that's everything in life.
People are mean, like, especially when you're a female in the sport.
All women are.
When you're a female in the sport or just in life, like, people are so nasty. And then like the fight fans towards women are so nasty.
Really?
And like, oh my God. Like, I don't know if you ever get time, go look at one of my posts and look at the comments. They're horrible. Like,
really? They tear you up on the comments.
I get a lot of good ones. I think that's the problem with women is like, when we get a negative comment, like, you get 100 that are like, you're the sexiest woman alive, you're beautiful, you're this and that. And then you get one that is like just boom. Rotted. But there are things where people have made memes of me that are negative, and I've had people harass me and comment and message me, and like things where you're just like, damn, like, is this true?
Yeah.
Like, there are things that I'm insecure about that I would have never even thought twice about. Like, about my appearance or something, like stuff I've never even noticed.
But they pointed it out.
Say it and you're like, damn, like, I didn't know I looked like that, or like, I didn't know that that's how people see me, or things like that. It's hard. Like, the mental aspect is really, really hard. I've been to the highest highs in bare-knuckle, and I've been to the lowest lows. And like, there are fights that I've lost that took months of me, like,
mentally coming
wasn't
back
even
strong.
Physical. It was mental. Like, it was
really?
Like, just, I don't even want to leave the house.
What do you do during that time? For me, like, when I'm in high stressful situations, I meditate.
Yeah.
Like, that is huge for me. In the mornings and evenings, I always meditate, really think through, watch my breathing. What do you do to really cope with that?
I was at a point where I didn't want to do therapy. Okay. And like, so my biggest thing was like, the negative stuff was coming out. So I would cope with it in negative ways, like drinking or like just making choices that weren't good for me, until I finally was like, had to have people be like, look, like, this is the way that you're going because of this. And so talking to people and like therapy has really helped me. And like, I have a sports psychologist now at all times, because like, it's little minor things like reading or writing. Like, she has me write and journal a lot, or read a lot, or gives me like these diagrams that are like, this is the issue, this is how you separate it, and why do you feel this way, and is it really logical? Like, so I do a lot of writing and talking and reading, things like that. Yeah, so that's the biggest thing. But having a sports psychologist, I was so against it for so long, or a therapist. And like, I didn't want to do that stuff because I was like, I'm not crazy. I don't need this. And getting a sports psychologist and having someone literally like just kind of like give you one sentence that's like, hey, like, have you ever thought of this? And you're like, no, I never thought of that. Idea. Like, you know, as humans, like we are programmed to automatically thinking negatively and doing negatively and all that stuff is so easy. Like, 100%.
It's hard it comes natural as humans.
It's our default setting. 100%. Our default setting is to see the bad in everything.
100%. So and if you can change that and see the positive in anything, your life is just so much better.
Yeah. And like having someone just point that out to me or like say things like, I think the biggest thing too is like with failure in humans, I think we tend to be so scared of failure, not because like we're scared of failing ourselves. We're scared of the world seeing us fail. Yeah. We're scared of the world seeing us fail. We're scared of letting people down that we care about. We don't want to let someone that we love like see us do bad, or like you want to do it for them. 100%. So I had to have this come to Jesus meeting of, okay, I've failed at the highest level, but everybody that I love and care about that is actually important in my life is still there and still sees me the same and still loves me the same, and they didn't go anywhere.
Oh yeah.
Because the biggest thing for me was like, I don't want to let people down. I don't want my team to be let down, my coaches to be let down. And like, you know, just having a strong support system of 100%. People that literally really care about you and are just behind you the whole time.
Oh, it's super important.
Very important.
I think anything you do in life, you have to have that mental game strong.
Yeah.
If you don't have that mental game, especially someone like you are performing at a very, very high level.
Yeah.
Where not many can even get to. You know, you're going to get people to criticize you every single thing you do. Yeah. Every little thing.
Whether you do good or bad.
They don't care. They don't care. They're going to criticize you because the mentality of individuals are negative. So they're going to want to give that negative vibe out to you. And that mindset that you have to be positive is remarkable.
Oh man, it's insane. And I've had to realize too, like that like what we're saying is if no matter what I do, someone's going to have something to say. I have lost fights. People talk shit. I've won fights. People talk shit. I look great. People talk shit. I look terrible. People talk shit. I'm like, okay, you know, there's a whole reoccurring theme here that like, no matter what I'm going to do, it's going to be that. So I know whose opinions matter to me and like are really valuable, and then separate that. And it's hard. Like I've had to learn a lot about myself and like really dig deep, because when I had a world title fight and I lost, I quit the fight. Like people are like, you quit. I'm like, you guys weren't in there getting hit in the face by this gigantic woman. Like this girl was humongous, and like I just said like I'm done. Like I don't want to do this. But it was because not of my physical performance, not because of her hitting me. I was going through so much mentally before that fight, and I wasn't acknowledging it or paying attention to it. And I remember so many times people asking me like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. And like in my mind, I was like, I'm not fine. No. And when I went to walk in that ring that night, I had no concept of where I was at, what was going on. And so that was a big thing that like, unfortunately, a form of failure, but I had to like assess like, okay, how am I going to come back from this? How am I going to be a better person from this, a better fighter? What am I doing? What didn't work? Like I can't ignore my mental health anymore. Like you could be the best primed up fighter ever, but if you're in a bad headspace, like you're not gonna get the results you want.
Oh, 100%. And I think that's what you're seeing that's reoccurring through the MMA, through boxing, is when they have those weigh-ins, when they have, you know, the press conference, it's all to get in the head game. That's it. You know,
because it takes nothing to just break someone mentally, and like then it's
I mean, all the things you say, words do get in your mind.
Yeah.
And if you do not have a strong mind and thick skin to just throw it off your shoulders, it's gonna tear you down. You're gonna lose.
Exactly.
It's a whole mental game. That's what Conor does.
Yeah.
Conor. That's why everyone loves watching Conor, is because he just trash talks at every single weigh-in or every single press conference.
Yeah.
And he gets in your head.
Exactly.
And that's what you have to do.
I had to learn a lot about that and a lot about myself with like how I process that stuff, and I got a lot of hate from that fight, and still processing it to this day. But now it's like, I'm just like old news. Like, come on, guys, like move on.
So during these fights, you talk trash?
No. I did. So the one that I lost that we're talking about is, they really pushed me to sell the fight. So they were like, we want you to talk shit. We want you to shove her. We want you to go places publicly and like look like you just want to fight her in public. And I like did that. I conformed to that because I was like, you know what? You guys are right. Like that is what sells fight. Conor McGregor, all these other people, this is what's working for them. But it wasn't me. Like I'm not like that. I'm a big sweetheart. I really would like, I prefer to fight someone and have no animosity in my heart. So like that was all like, okay, like I'm just doing this because I need to sell the fight. And like I did it and then I lost. And then people came at me and were like, you talked so much shit and did this. But I was like, in my head, I'm like, bro, like, this is fake. And it's like WWE, but it's not real. And these people don't understand that. They just think they just label you like this is who you are and how you are.
Yeah.
And so now I'm like, you know, I'll talk my shit like when it needs to be talked. Like I know Britain's like yapping and talking a lot of shit about me. And like, I mean, even if she's not my favorite human being, like I still have nothing to say. Like I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna be myself. Like, yep, I want to fight you. You got what I want, and that's it. At the end of the day, like I get to fight you, and it is what it is. I don't have to say anything extra or attack your like morals or who you are as a human. Like,
love that. Love that. Let's talk about coffee. I love coffee.
Let's go. Me too.
What has gotten you into wanting to open up a coffee shop?
I worked as a barista at this small coffee shop in Clover called the Virgin Bean.
Okay.
I just love coffee. And I remember seeing them post something on Facebook, like we need someone to help out. Yeah. And so I kind of just wrote the owner and was like, I would love to try to do it. And like, it was crazy. I went in there as a natural and like just knew everything before they could teach me something. And they're like, how do you know this? I'm like, I just love coffee and like the science behind it. And like, the coffee is the thing that like it's never gonna go away. No. Everybody loves coffee. Everybody loves 100%. Coffee. And if you don't, then they're gonna have something you're gonna like, and it might not be coffee, but. And
I think you're seeing a lot more of these coffee shops on the rise. I mean, if you look at Starbucks stock, it's been declining. Yeah. And I think you're seeing a lot more of these boutique coffee shops that are just on the rise because that's where everyone wants to go to is these nice little boutique coffee shops instead of, you know, the Starbucks these days.
I think that's what inspired me to like working there. It was a small shop but it had like this vibe to it. It was like 70s. The owners were hippies. I was playing classic rock music every day and like jamming out while I'm serving coffee. And like, I loved making stuff and people didn't know what it was or what it was going to be. And like, just like, it was awesome. The customers were great. Like it was the best. So I really enjoyed that. And I want something of that like on my own.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, like I want something like that on my own. And
maybe we'll see a coffee line come out.
Heck yeah.
A Killa Bee coffee.
I need to do something. Yeah.
You should.
I gotta think of a business name. Like I'm trying to think of like what I want my coffee shop to be. I want to do coffee. I want to roast coffee and I want to have like a coffee shop, but I also want to have something with honey. Like do like get local honey and like make it like a thing. I don't know. I have all kinds of ideas.
Have it like infused.
Yeah. Somewhere. See? Yeah.
I like it.
It's a great idea.
What is next for Taylor?
I'm gonna have a world title belt. That's first on the list.
When's it coming? I can't wait.
First on the list. I just know it's coming. I'm hoping this summer. I'm manifesting it. I'm putting out. I'm doing the self promotion before they do anything or put anything out. Britain, I want you. I'm coming to take that belt. You got what I want. And after that, we'll see what happens.
There we go. Well, I'm excited to watch that. Everyone follow you on Instagram so they can take a look at that because I'm sure once you sign that agreement, you're going to be blasting it out.
Hell yeah.
And good luck to her because
good luck to her. She's going to need it.
She's going to need it because you're coming in hot.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, thanks so much for joining us. I really enjoyed, reconnecting after knowing you for over 10 years. And I'm excited to watch you get that belt.
Yeah. Don't be a stranger. Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you guys.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for tuning in to the Chris Salerno Show. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and gained valuable insight to help you along your journey. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. If you have any questions or topics that you would like to cover, feel free to reach out directly to me. Shoot me a message on Instagram at Chris_Salerno_. Until next time, keep pushing forward and stay inspired.